It's morning. For now, night is over. It's time for the bad news. I think of the bad news as a huge bird with the wings of a crow and the face of my grade 4 school teacher. Sparse spun, rancid teeth, wrinkly frown, pursed mouth and all, sailing around the world under cover of darkness, pleased to be the bearer of ill tidings, carrying a basket of rotten eggs, and knowing, as the sun comes up, exactly where to drop them. On me, for one. At our place, the bad news arrives in the form of the bad news paper. Tig carries it up the stairs. They just killed the leader of the interim governing council, Tig announces. It's not that he's impervious to bad news. On the contrary, he's angular. He has less body fat than I do, and therefore less capacity to absorb, to cushion, to turn the calories of bad news, and it does have calories, it raises your blood pressure, into the substance of his own body. I can do that. He can't. He wants to pass the bad news on as soon as possible, get it off of his hands like a hot potato. Bad news burns him. I'm still in bed. I'm not really awake. I was doing a little wallowing. I was enjoying this morning until now. Not before breakfast, I say. I do not add. You know I can't handle it this early in the day. I've added that before. It's had only an intermittent effect. Oh, sorry, he says. He shoots me a reproachful look. Why must I disappoint him like this? Don't I know that if he can't tell the bad news to me right now, some bilious green bad news gland or bladder inside of him will burst and he'll get peritonitis of the soul? Then I'll be sorry. He's right, I would be sorry. I'd have no one left whose mind I can read. I'm getting up now, I say, hoping I sound comforting. I'll be right down. Now and right down don't have the same meaning they used to have. Everything takes longer than it did back then. But I can still get out of the night dress, into the day dress, the doing up of the shoes, the lubrication of the face, the selection of the vitamin pills. The leader, I think. The interim governing council. Killed by them. A year from now, I won't remember which leader, which interim governing council, which them. But such items multiply. Everything is interim. No one can govern anymore. There are lots of them, of thems. They always want to kill the leaders, with the best of intentions, or so they claim. The leaders have the best of intentions as well. The leaders stand in the spotlight. The killers aim from the dark. It's easy to score. But there's been bad news before. We got through it. We got through it. That's bracing. It conjures up a march or a procession, horses prancing, costumes tattered and muddied because of the siege or battle or enemy occupation or butchering of dragons or 40-year trek through the wilderness. There'd be a bearded leader hoisting his standard and pointing forward. The leader would have got the bad news early. He'd got it. He'd understood it. He'd known what to do. Attack from the flank. Go for the throat. Get the hell out of Egypt. That sort of thing. Where are you? Tig calls up the stairs. Coffee's ready. I'm here, I call back down. We use this a lot, this walkie-talkie of air. Communication hasn't failed us. Not yet. Not yet is aspirated like the H in honor. It's the silent not yet. We don't say it. The kitchen, when I get to it, smells like toast and coffee. Not surprising, because that's what Tig has been making. The smell wraps around me like a blanket, stays there while I eat the actual toast and drink the actual coffee. There, on the table, is the bad news. Look at the paper, says Tig. There are pictures. Is bad news worse with pictures? I think so. Pictures make you look, whether you want to or not. There's the burnt-out car, one of a series by now, with its skeletal frame of twisted metal. A charged shadow crouches inside. In pictures like these, there are always empty shoes. It's the shoes that get to me. Sad, that innocent daily task, putting your shoes on your feet, in the firm belief that you'll be going somewhere. We don't like bad news, but we need it. We need to know about it in case it's coming our way. Herd of deer in the meadow, heads down, grazing peacefully. Then woof, woof, wild dogs in the woods. Heads up, ears forward, prepare to flee. We're lucky, says Tig. I know what he means. He means the two of us sitting here in the kitchen, still. Neither of us gone. Not yet. Yes, we are, I say. Watch the toast, it's burning. There. We've dealt with the bad news, we faced it head on, and we're all right. We have no wounds. No blood pours out of us. We aren't scorched. We have all of our shoes. The sun is shining. The birds are singing. There's no reason not to feel pretty good. The bad news comes from so far away most of the time. The explosions, the oil spills, the genocides, the famines, all of that. There will be other news later. There always is. We'll worry about it when it comes. Some years ago, when Tig and I were in the south of France at a place called Glanum, we were on a vacation of sorts. What we really wanted to see was the asylum, where Van Gogh painted the irises, and we did see that. Glanum was a side trip. I haven't thought about it in years, but I find myself there now, back then, in Glanum, before it was destroyed in the 3rd century, before it was only a few ruins you pay to get into. There are spacious villas in Glanum, the kind of buildings the Romans put up wherever they went so they could feel civilized and at home. There are older Greek houses mixed in with the Roman ones, and a few Greek ways linger still. Celts come to town, some of them wearing tunics and cloaks like ours, and speak decent Latin. I'm having my breakfast in the morning room with the mural of Pomona and the Zephyrs. What would I be eating? Bread, honey, dried figs. Fresh fruit isn't in season yet. No coffee. Worse luck, I don't think it's been invented yet. I'm having some fermented mare's milk as an aid to digestion. Tig comes in with a scroll. Bad news, I ask? The barbarians are invading, he says. They've crossed the Rhine. Not before breakfast, I say. He knows I can't discuss weighty matters right after getting up. But I've been too abrupt. I see his stricken look, and I relent. They're always crossing the Rhine. You think they'd get tired of it? Our legions will defeat them. They always have before. I don't know, says Tig. We shouldn't have let so many barbarians into the army. You can't depend on them. Please, sit down, I say. I'll order you a nice piece of bread and honey with figs. Tig sits down. Did you hear, I say? They found a freshly cut off head hung up beside the old Celtic votive well. Do you think they're reverting to paganism? The Celts? They hate us, really, says Tig. The Celts know that if we go under, they'll go under too. He takes only one bite of the lovely bread. Then he stands up, paces around. He looks flushed. I'm going to the baths, he says, for the news. Gossip and rumor, I think. We'll get through it, I say. Tig says nothing. It's such a beautiful day. The air smells of thyme. The fruit trees are in flower. But this means nothing to the barbarians. In fact, they prefer to invade on beautiful days. It provides more visibility for their lootings and massacres. Still, they're very far away. Even if they manage to cross the Rhine, even if they aren't slain in thousands, even if the river fails to run red with their blood, they won't get here for a long time. Not in our lifetime, perhaps. Glanum is in no danger. Not yet.